right, now it's time for the second half of our show, which is Letters to Jessica. For those who are just tuning in, Letters to Jessica is just something that we have come up with, where people in my personal life, fans and friends, send me emails and they ask me questions, and I generally will answer them. Everybody has given me consent to answer these. No, I am not a psychiatrist. This is just people asking me for my advice. So let's get started. So our first letter is from a male who lives in Arkansas. He writes, "Dear Jessica, I'm an African-American male who is a Republican. This will be the first time I vote Democrat. I feel anxious and nervous. Do you have any advice?" Well, male in Arkansas, I want to say you're not alone. I think the demographic for African-American Republicans is actually quite higher than what people realize. And I'm not talking about the Republicans now, because this is not actually the Republican Party. I feel like the Republican Party has been infiltrated by some folks who are a little cuckoo, and that's not what it was about. But if we go to the guidelines of, what the Republican is, making sure that you work, earn what you work for, all that stuff, African American people have, more kindred spirits in line with the Republican agenda, when it was a good Republican agenda. Now that this is going on, I think people need to understand, and I'm going to say this to you, and maybe you can say it to your friends. We are not voting for Joe Biden. We are not voting for Kamala Harris. At this moment, we are voting for an idea. And what a lot of people don't understand with democracy is you're not necessarily voting for that person because you like that person. This is not a popularity contest. This is about our democracy and where we want it to go. And unfortunately, this is where we're at. I think Joe Biden, he is a Democrat, but he leans Republican. So I would say don't feel so bad about that. But I do want to point out that, again, this is not about party affiliation. This is about our democracy. So when I say that, I want you to think about your future and what you want projected in America within the next 10 years, 3 years, 1 year. Because I think that's what happens. People don't really pay attention to politics when they're not doing what our current president is doing, which is just causing chaos and drama. He's literally had to wake us all up so that we look at politicians a different way. I feel like African Americans in this day and age do need to get more involved in politics, because I feel like, unfortunately, some of our white allies are out of touch with that. They've had generational wealth. They've had great credit. So they don't really know what the disparities for African American communities, brown communities are. And so when we put more African Americans in office, more brown people in office, then we really can start to work on legislatures. We can actually have people work for us. And when we say vote blue all the way down the ticket, what a lot of people don't understand is that that's how it works. Voting isn't just about the president. It's more so about everybody on that ticket. So you may think, oh, well, I'm just going to vote for the president and that'll be enough. But it's actually not going to be enough. You're going to want to vote for the town halls people. You're going to want to vote your butt off. Because every election matters. And so it's really important that you make your voice heard, like the mayor. A lot of people don't know a mayor, when you vote for your mayor, it's another local government official that usually appoints the chief of police in the city to manage law enforcement. So you see how that goes. Then when you do that, then we may have a sheriff. You want to vote for your sheriff, because a sheriff is typically an elected position that oversees a county and is responsible for enforcing the law. The state attorney general are the top legal officers of their state. Most are elected and have jurisdiction over criminal prosecutions. They also advise and represent their legislature and state agencies. So then we go up some more. So then your state legislature, the reason you want to vote for them is because they are responsible for policies that define what constitutes crime to crime and funding of the government agencies that are responsible for dealing with the defenders and the victims. So then you keep going. So we go up. So then the majority of states, you want to vote for your judge. And this is why you need to know who your judges are in your state, because the majority of states will select the judges to the state's Supreme Courts, while others are appointed depending on your state's constitution. Each state has a different constitution, but the same. So your number one bet is, this is why we vote blue all the way down, because when you do that, you're changing who your mayor is, who will then change who the sheriff is. The sheriff then will change who the police chief is, who will then, you know what I mean? That's how it works. So then we keep going with our governors. The reason that you want to vote in the governor race is because governors play a crucial role in ensuring public safety and security, and they oversee state agencies that implement criminal justice and public safety policy and programs, including state police, corrections, and juvenile. So governors really work with the jail reform system, and this is why it's so important to get involved, so that way you know exactly what kind of prison reform for juveniles and for older people, because the number one issue that we find is that, is there really any reform in the criminal system? This is why it's important to vote. So then we keep going. You have your senators and representatives in Congress. The reason that you're voting for them and you're voting blue is so that you can create a federal law and have power to reform the criminal justice system through the legislation. The last vote is the president. And the reason we vote for the president is because this person will appoint the Attorney General, who will lead the Department of Justice. This executive department of the USA government is responsible for enforcing the federal law and administering justice in the United States. So now that I've told you that, I want you to think about all the people that the current president has put in position. None of these people are qualified, and none of these people actually care about any of those things that we just listed off about criminal reform, juvenile reform, laws in your area. They don't really care. So that's why you're not seeing a lot of change. But imagine if we got forward-thinking black, brown, white, yellow, orange people to get in those positions of power and to see the actual change. And that's the whole thing. It wouldn't be a trickle-down effect anymore. It would be what we call a wave. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create a lasting change because, you know, Mail in Arkansas, the things that he has unrolled, this current president, we're gonna be at least 20 to 30 years before we find out how much damage is done. But there's no reason to be anxious or nervous. If anything, I would tell you that, you know, you are doing your duty as a proud American, and you keep being proud to be an American. Thank you so much for the letter. Well, that's all the time we have. I need your support, Team Grabbit. If you value the free and paid content that I've delivered over the years, please consider subscribing to my accounts or my official website, jessicagrabbit.com today. If you're already a subscriber, now's a great time to use the Tip Me feature on this Anchor app, as well as the other sites that I have. Send me an Amazon gift card or refer 10 friends that you know that will benefit from my service. Remember, every contribution, big or small, will ensure that I am able to produce content in the years to come. One day soon, this crazy era of social distancing and hunkering down at home will be behind us. And I'll be back working out at the gym at 6:30 a.m. and camming my regular 10 to 11 a.m. shift. And I know all of you are having fantasies about getting immersed in some of the out-of-the-house activities once again. But for now, every one of us needs alternative ways to escape, and I aim to be that escape. So long, and remember, be good or be good at it. Until next time.